Praise be Jesus Christ, now and forever. Starting a new year is often a time for resolutions. Sometimes it's about our health, whether we're vowing to lose weight after too many Christmas chocolates, or the peculiar dry January when drink is avoided. I'd personally rather wait for Lent, if I were you. Perhaps we might think of more spiritual resolutions. After all, it's far more dangerous for our spiritual arteries to be clogged than our physical ones. Maybe it's time to resolve to pray more, to avoid certain occasions when we know we're likely to sin, to commit to a set time in church every week, sitting in silence. Unfortunately, as we know, our good resolutions are often broken by the evening of New Year's Day, maybe even just a few minutes after midnight. I'm recording this nugget on the eve of the feast of the Epiphany, happily celebrated on the right day here in England, ending the traditional 12 days. It's one of the most beautiful feasts in the life of the church, associated with the Magi, the men who were wise, often called kings, but very much more likely truth seekers from Arabia. Interestingly, in his Gospel, St. Matthew actually tells us very little about the Magi. He doesn't, for example, tell us there were three. He doesn't tell us who they were, just that they were Magi, wise men from the East. He does tell us the gifts they brought for the newborn king: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And critically, he tells us the purpose of the visit. One might say the sole purpose, apart from the gift-giving: to do him homage. They came to the cave in Bethlehem because they had made a resolution to follow the star that would lead to the king. They followed the star because it would lead to the truth which the adult Jesus would later proclaim sets us free. Their resolution was, when they had found the king, even in his extraordinary palace of straw and throne of a manger, surrounded not by courtiers but farmyard animals, once they had found him, they resolved, even as they had at the start of their long voyage, to do him homage. Homage, that ancient word, has many meanings, and we can use any of them in relation to the resolution of the Magi. Most certainly and most importantly, it involved worship, the total submission and adoration which God not only deserves, but which is the highest and greatest thing a human can do. They worshipped the king, which meant they recognized him, despite being a baby in a stable. They recognized him as, a little earlier, the shepherds had recognized him. That act of recognition by simple shepherds and wise men from the East was because they possessed the virtue of humility, something singularly lacking in King Herod and his court, as it is often lacking in the so-called great and the good, the pundits, and those apparently in the know, who actually know nothing. There was a second part of their homage, though, which I think we can use for our New Year thoughts and perhaps for a resolution. In the Middle Ages, a vassal, essentially an indentured servant, was bound to his lord through an act of homage. The wise men, as they knelt before the King of the universe, adored by his mother and foster father, in his royal throne of straw, resolved to be his servants, wherever that may lead. They resolved to be servants of the truth, which involves fidelity, courage, and the willingness to stand out from the crowd. It's impossible to do the Lord homage and then fail to serve him. Otherwise, one becomes one of the wicked servants Jesus spoke about so many times in his parables. Let us ask the Magi and the shepherds to give us the humility and the wisdom to resolve in this year of our Lord 2022 to worship him faithfully and to serve him completely. Brethren, rejoice, be perfected, be comforted, be of the same mind, be at peace, and the God of peace and love will be with you.